Thank you for joining us on the Overcomers Overcoming podcast series, where we profile those who have overcome or those who are in the process of overcoming any life topic. We have three objectives with this podcast series. Our first objective is we want you to know that whatever you're experiencing in life, whatever you're encountering, you're not alone. We want to join you to let you know that we together can help you through whatever challenge you may have that at the time may seem too difficult to be able to overcome. Our second objective is to help you determine with a very confident resolve there are multiple solutions, multiple factors involved in any life encounter. It's a matter of thinking into and thinking through the life situation you are encountering to determine the various options, the various solutions that are available to you. Our third objective is to help you with critical thinking skills. If whatever you're experiencing is a result of a decision you made sometime in the past, such that if you had a life redo, you would make a different decision, we want to help you determine the objective facts and factors to evaluate to help you reach a more informed decision. I'm Ron Cooper, founder of the Cooper Culture. I'm with my wife and business partner, Marty. Together, we are the Cooper Culture, and the Cooper Culture is sponsoring this podcast series. Today, we feature Maribel Ortega, originally from the Dominican Republic. She's speaking to us from Germany. She has a message where she discusses having overcome some doubts in her life. One of the poignant aspects that she mentions is having a growth plan, and what that does is help us not compare ourselves with others, but rather compare ourselves with our own growth. Are we better today than we were yesterday? It's a very intriguing concept. But Marty, what are some takes our listeners can gain from this?
This was an amazing podcast. Maribel is articulate and relational in her knowledge and sharing of low confidence in women. Maribel has the desire to help women overcome and work through low self-confidence. And as you listen to Maribel in this podcast, you will learn how she did it and how she can help you rid that little voice on your shoulder that's telling you you can't do it.
Very well said. Let's listen and learn together. Maribel, it is great to have you with us. I want to thank you on behalf of our listeners for joining us. You are in Munich, Germany. We are in the United States, perhaps 6 hours difference. It's good to know that with technology, we can communicate and connect with each other just as if we are sitting side by side. But more important, Maribel, you have lived a life. You are a professional coach, and you help people overcome some things in the past. You, by your description, have overcome some aspects of your life that you're passing forward to others. And I wonder if you would share with Marty, me, and our listeners just a little bit of your past that possibly motivates you to help others. What have you overcome? And we'll discuss possibly in a little bit more detail just how you overcome various aspects of your life.
Thank you. Thanks so much. First of all, I'd like to thank you, Ron and Marty, for inviting me on your show. I'm delighted to be here. This is a great opportunity to share my vision and also my message. Yes, as you mentioned, Ron, indeed, I am a coach and I help women go from managers to leaders without all the overwhelm in 90 days. This is what I do now, but this has been a path. I can only now, after many years doing this, can I say it in just one sentence. This was, I imagine you also know, it's a process of discovery. First of all, many, many years back, 20, 30 years back, of discovering what is it that is keeping me playing small, keeping me knowing there's so much more that I could do, but I'm just not doing it. In the end, I found out it was just me. That was, that barrier, it was nothing external. It was just everything in my personality, in my behavior that was keeping me small. And that particular issue that I dealt with and I help my clients deal with now is, I would say two particular words. One is self-confidence, and the other one is self-esteem. Those two things are connected with each other. In terms of talking to people, I only use the word self-confidence because self-esteem, people don't like to talk about it, or, oh, I don't love myself, or I don't like myself. It's kind of like when you are in an intimate conversation one-on-one, then people will open up. And actually, I'm convinced that it's low self-esteem. The key, improving that, is the key to many things. So I was a very shy young girl, teenager. I was a perfectionist. I wanted to be the good girl, to do everything that my parents said. And as many other women are raised, conditioned, or we become conditioned to saying yes, to never say no, to acquiesce, to go by the rules, which as a result means I don't create any boundaries. I always put others people's needs in front or before mine. I strived for perfection. And, probably you also encounter that in your coaching, that aiming for perfection just freezes you. And then also one other aspect that I realized in myself also was a huge need for harmony, which at the same time, this desire for harmony makes people to not speak up, to not share their opinion, to not engage in important and needed confrontational conversations. If someone is doing something that you are not okay with, you need to say something. But yeah, you don't, because that need for harmony is just a lot more important in order to give you the feeling, I'm okay. It just feels too uncomfortable. Does that ring a bell? You know what I mean?
It does. I know exactly what you mean. Many of our listeners do not have what I call a healthy confidence. There was a part of my life where I did not. I would not offer an opinion because I felt somebody would ask me, why do I believe that? And I did not know how to substantiate any opinion I may have. So therefore, I would just remain silent. Talk to our listeners how you overcame that aspect of being silent, maybe not wanting to confront, and so forth. How did you overcome that to develop what I'm perceiving as a healthy self-confidence? It's not arrogance, but it's a confidence in yourself.
Absolutely. I totally agree with you. There's a big difference between a healthy self-esteem and healthy self-confidence as opposed to arrogance. Arrogance means I think I'm the best. I think I'm the only one who can do it that way. And I don't care about any other people's opinions. And a healthy self-esteem says, I know I have lots of things I'm really good at. I know that there are things that I'm not so good at, and that is okay. And I like myself that way. This kind of acceptance of who you are with your strengths and your weaknesses, and just thinking, and that's fine. And I'm cool with that. And when you find that, this is the work that I needed to do. Or I would say that is the first step that you need to do in order to start tapping into your self-confidence. It all starts with knowing what your values are. And this is what I did. This is the inner self work that you need to do. Depending on our upbringing, each one of us has different values. And when the way you live and those values, if they are connected, then you feel that you are living your authentic self, that you are showing up as who you really are. And when there is a disconnect between those values and how you're living, then that's where you feel that things are not happening, or you're not living your life as you would like to. When you don't speak up, when you let others trample on you, when you don't mark your boundaries, you are not living up to those values. To be able to speak up, to share your opinion, to have a polite discussion, even if you have differences of opinion, the first step is to understand your value and your worth, and to feel and know, but to be convinced, I'm okay. I'm okay. And I have a right for space. I have a right to be loved. I have a right to have friends because I'm a lovable person, because I have positive things to share with the world. That, or I am convinced, that is the first step you need to take to increase your self-confidence. Now, that alone will not do it, because self-confidence is action. To increase your self-confidence, you need to start doing things like saying no, like sharing your opinion. And you need to start with where you feel the least resistance is. If saying no to a colleague that is asking you to, for example, work late tonight, but you can't, saying no to that person in a polite way. There are different techniques for saying no. Just starting with a little bit, that will increase your self-confidence. And it's kind of like a positive loop that feeds itself. When you take a little step, then you feel, oh, I could do that. I could say no. And my colleague didn't start screaming at me, or didn't start, you start creating positive connections with standing up for yourself, with doing whatever it is you find difficulties with. So I would say those are the two things you need to start doing to increase your self-confidence. One is the inner work, and the second one is action.
And I think what I'm hearing you say, Maribel, and help the listener who may not know exactly what their self-worth is. They're not sure exactly what they're good at. And that person may be wondering, is this a matter of healthy awareness? You very eloquently said, you know that you're good at some things, you know you're not good at some other things. That would seem to be a matter of knowing exactly who you are, accepting who you are. You can say yes to this because it aligns with maybe a life purpose. You can say no to that because maybe it doesn't align with your life purpose. Maybe it's not aligned with a skill that you're good at. I'm talking very generally, but I want to ask you, is it a matter of knowing who you are, that awareness, and maybe refining, maybe even defining a life purpose that is aligned with exactly who you are, that you can just put a better focus and vision together that this is who I am. I'm not everything to everybody, but this is who I am to somebody? That's kind of an open-ended, I don't intend it to be a loaded question, but our listeners are wondering about a lot of these things, how to process all this.
Okay, thank you for that. Yes, that's a great question, Ron. One, how do you find out what you're good at? Definitely. One thing is self-awareness, observing what are the things that I enjoy doing, what comes easily to me. If you are dealing with a inner self-critic that is really, really very loud, let's just imagine that we can put that volume up and down, that inner self-critic will be, kind of like the devil on one of your shoulders saying, oh no, don't do that. Oh, but you're not really good at that. You should start working with that, because that inner self-critic, that negative inner discourse, will stop you from practicing that self-awareness of where you're good at. And there are some techniques that you can use In my case, the one that works well, whenever that inner self-critic starts, usually that self-critic is wanting to protect you from embarrassment or from situations that take you out of your comfort zone. So it's kind of like a way of protecting you from a part of your consciousness that maybe feels weak. In my case is 5-year-old Maribel, little girl. She's afraid of me in an interview saying something wrong or not pronouncing it correctly or asking the best question when I'm coaching. And what I do, one technique is to personalize that inner critic. And I just imagine it's me, that little girl, and I talk to her and I say, you know what? It's cool. I've got this. I can do it. I've done it before. I know you're afraid, but I'm in charge here. No worries. So it's kind of like that helpless inner critic inside yourself, because it's not a devil. It's actually a weak part of you that is afraid that you make a mistake, trying to protect you. And then you say, no, I've got everything under control. It's okay. And when you create out of it, it doesn't have to be like a younger version of you. That's what works for me. It could be some character of a movie or whatever, or someone that you know. Or that inner critic could be a parent that criticized you a lot, or a teacher, or someone in your life who criticized you a lot. That could be that inner critic. So first, turning the volume down of the inner critic and realization, this is not me. This is just one voice inside of me. But there are others. There is also the voice of the confident version of me, not only the afraid version of me. So that's one thing. That's the inner critic. And how do you find out? Not only relying on the self-awareness of who you are, then I would recommend a quick or a light version of a 360. You know, the 360 feedback is what you do in companies where the ex-manager gets feedback from everyone, from people he or she reports to, or people who report to them, people at the same level. So you get a 360-degree overview of what people think of you. That also, because, we can't see everything. We see a part, but how impact of our behavior on others is, the best is that they tell us what that impact is. So what you can do, a light version of this 360 is think of friends, colleagues you like, and family, and ask them, what do you like about me? What does make me special? What do you think are my strengths? And you can also ask, what do you think are my weaknesses? And just ask them to send you an email with that information. And that gives you an image of how others perceive you. And if your inner critic is very loud and you cannot think of anything positive about yourself, because I've had that with my coachees, that they think of 3 things they're good at, and the list of weaknesses is like huge, because they can see everything that they're not good at. They're really good at that. If that's where you are, then start asking people who appreciate you and love you to help you improve. Ask them for their feedback.
That's great. A lot of things come to mind, Maribel, and I'm curious what your thoughts are. As we reflect on life, and many of us are a product of our backgrounds, but we're not a prisoner to it except by our choice. Yes, many of us have been told different things, and maybe there's some limiting beliefs of ourselves. Is there an aspect of comparing ourselves with others that you would recommend that's generally not healthy? Because when we compare ourselves with someone else, we frequently come up short. In other words, Maribel, I'm just not as good as you, and something of that nature. Is there either a healthy or unhealthy aspect of comparing yourself with someone else?
Thank you for this question, Ron. It's a great question. And my answer is comparing yourself to other people is just plain useless because you're just not them. You are you. And you need to own your story. And whatever your story is, whatever your life story is, that's the one you've got, with the highs and lows. And it really doesn't matter if you're starting your business at 40, at 50, or 60. If you meet the love of your life at 55, who cares if most of the people do it at 25 or 30? That doesn't help me, or that doesn't help you, depending on where you are. So a better approach is a growth mindset approach. With a growth mindset, you compare yourself with you. And what you do is the following. In order to change whatever mindset you have, probably a fixed mindset, like, oh, I'm never going to meet the love of my life. Oh, I'm 53. I'm never going to be an entrepreneur. Well, that's a limiting belief. One word, one expression that you used, Ron. The only thing you need to do to change from a fixed mindset to a growth mindset is to use the word yet. I haven't met the love of my life yet. I haven't founded a company yet. I haven't made that trip to Thailand yet, or whatever it is that you would like to achieve. Just adding the word yet. I haven't learned other languages yet, or whatever it is, then you just need that word yet. And if that is something that you want to improve, then you make a plan, because without a plan and actions, then it's just a dream or a wish. And then you start doing, and you compare yourself with you. Where was I 3 months ago? Where was I 6 months ago? And where am I now? That's where you can see an improvement. And that is, if you compare yourself with where you were before and where you want to be in 3 months, where you want to be in 6 months, then that's something that is useful. Comparing yourself with somebody else who has other people in their lives, who has a complete different life story, what's the use of that? Nah, don't do that.
What are your thoughts about a growth plan? That is, you are competing against your own personal growth. You're not comparing yourself with anyone else. No one else's situation is like yours. You are unique. Talk to us about your thoughts about competing with yourself. You're not comparing yourself with anyone else. Have you have you had any problems with comparing yourself with others? If you have compared yourself with others, do you frequently come up short in that comparison? It is very likely, my experience, that when you compare yourself with others, you almost always come up short. I want to encourage you to think of someone, perhaps yourself, who needs a growth plan. That is someone to walk along with, someone who needs a growth plan to help them stop comparing themselves with others. I like what you say, Maribel. Talk to the listener who says, I just like everything I'm hearing, just the vibrance in your voice. You give me hope, but here's where some of the limiting factors are. I've been told enough times, you start things you never finish. I've been told enough times, well, what if you fail? That it's just going to be one more in a long list of failures. Therefore, I may not even want to start. Where I'm going with this, Maribel, is a call to action. To that person who said, I like everything you're saying, you give me hope, but I'm not even sure I have enough confidence to get started. Is there a way you can inspire the listener to say, come on, get out, move on, let's work together, I'll stand beside you, something to that effect, let's take action? What would that call to action be to that person who might be thinking, I like what you're saying, but gosh, I don't know, I may fail at even trying?
I would answer back, and what if you succeed?
I like it.
What if you succeed? Then you've got everything. Part of self-confidence is taking risks. and doing things and focusing on doing the things, not focusing on the result. And one important thing of increasing self-confidence is to start disassociating failing or making mistakes with something negative. Forget that. Failing forward, that's what I like to call it. Failing or making mistakes is a fantastic way of getting feedback, a fantastic way of knowing that's not the right way of doing it. That's not the right path. So I need to try it in another way. And you know what? That's also the quickest and best way to learn. So we can just, mistakes, we could erase that from our vocabulary and say, learn, a learning opportunity. So once you change that, then, because what is the problem of making mistakes is fear of being judged by others, fear of saying, oh, she tried that and oh, she didn't make it, haha. But you know what? If we decide what we're going to do on what other people think, then we're prisoner to their opinion. And do you know how many people are in the world? Everyone will judge. Everyone has an opinion. If I think that is more important than what I think, then just stay home and don't do anything. And then just, stay in bed for the rest of your life. You don't have to do anything. But if you free yourself from that, it's just one opinion. If someone thinks they don't like it, well, okay, that's their opinion. You can keep that. That's none of my business what other people, also saying I don't care at all what anyone thinks is not healthy either. There are some people whose opinions are important, and taking that into consideration and living your life with compassion is important, because that is what makes you relate to other people and create connections. And that's important. But just randomly, what anyone else thinks, yeah, who cares? You just do you.
That is very well said. I think a lot of what you're saying, Maribel, is I reflect on Thomas Edison right now, who tried numerous times to develop a light bulb, and he failed numerous times. He said, no, I haven't failed at all. I just found 10,000 ways that do not work. I'm going to continue until I find what does work. And I think, Maribel, with that attitude, we're always failing forward. I use the expression frequently, hey, let's lean forward, think forward, and nobody will take me down. That's not an arrogance, I don't think, but I do believe it's a confidence that there are no number of failings that will keep me down. Maribel, for the listener who would like to contact you, that they really like your positive, upbeat attitude, and they want to just spend more time with you, how would a person contact you to make that connection?
The best way would be to visit my website, maribelortega.com. And there you can, if you want to speak to me, I'm very welcome. Then you can book a free consultation and we can have a chat. You can also follow me on LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook. And if you really want to be engaged, then you can follow on Facebook. You can join my free Facebook group where I show up once a week. I have a live, and in that live session, I talk exactly the kind of things that I'm speaking about now. Those would be the ways to connect with me.
That is great to know. And I'm going to encourage our listeners to do just that, to engage with you. Maribel, I'm going to guess the person we're speaking with now is not the person who used to be some number of years ago. You have overcome any feelings of inadequacy, any comparison of, well, I'm not sure who I am, maybe not good enough. You've overcome that, and you have what appears to be a very healthy self-confidence. And the more we are with people like you, the greater the likelihood we are going to become a person like you. And I want to thank you for sharing your life. My guess is overcoming some of those limiting beliefs of the past. It's not going to happen with just one conversation, but rather it may be a process. Am I thinking of this correctly?
Yes, well, thank you for saying that. I have a high or a healthy self-esteem or self-confidence, Ron. And I agree. I have overcome many things. If I compare myself with who I was with that 15-year-old girl until she was 30, that was, let's say, like a black and white version of me and not like in full color. And what I want your listeners to know is that the fact that I have overcome things, that doesn't make me invincible. It doesn't mean that there are never situations where I self-doubt, where I doubt myself, where I fall back to do some of those things where my inner critic come back. That happens. That happens. I would say that happens a lot. The difference between that 25-year-old girl and me now at 45 is that I know what I can do to overcome those situations. I know, oh, that's not really me talking, that I don't, Maribel, don't send that article because it's not ready yet. And maybe I say one of 2 days, no, I have to do reread it or rewrite it. But then after 2 days, the difference is that now I realize a lot more quicker. Oh, that's actually not me. That's the inner critic talking. You know what? 80%. It's good. I'm sending that out. I'm not spending more time and moving on. 80%, that's what I aim for. So more, because perfectionism was one of the things that I struggled with. Excellence, aiming for helping, for going with my calling, but not staying stuck. Are there moments where I doubt myself? Of course, there are. But I can think of moments where I saw I can do this really well. And thinking about those moments helps you increase your self-confidence in a moment where you see, I'm feeling the wind coming very strong, and I don't know how to keep standing. So self-confidence is a process. It's not a state. It's not a state that you acquire self-confidence and then you're set for the rest of your life. You continuously increase, expanding that area outside of your comfort zone. The more you go outside of it, the more you go back to, oh, can I do this? Like I remember 1 or 2 years ago, the first time that at a company I had to give one of my coaching programs for team building in German. I've been living here for 20 years. I went to university here, so my German is quite good. I mean, I'll never speak like someone who learned German, with the bottle, but it's okay. I mean, come on, I speak 5 languages. So if I speak once 85%, that's really good. But nonetheless, even though I know that it's okay, I can communicate well. Before I went, that was 2 years ago, before I went into that meeting room, and I knew there are going to be 10 professionals, 10 adult people. Oh my God, and they speak all German perfectly. And what if I say something wrong? And what if I say one of these endings is wrong? And then I had to stop myself and say, so what if I say something wrong? And they're going to correct me. And I say, oh, great, thank you. And I learned, to see it with a positive attitude. And you know what? It's not the end of the world. If I speak a language with an accent, it means that I can speak another language without an accent. So I think the most important thing that I have learned is to reframe situations, to see them with a more positive light. So I could think, what if I say something wrong? Okay, maybe I say something wrong or pronounce it in a wrong way. Is that the end of the world? No, it's not. I'm just like magnifying it and looking at it with a magnifying glass. No, it's just one minimal 1 second thing. And when you reframe things, you look at them, and this is your example run from Thomas Edison. You could look at trying to build the light bulb 1,000, I don't remember how many times, and think, oh my goodness, I have no idea how to do this. It doesn't work. Or you could say, those ways didn't work. I need to keep trying. There's going to be one that works. And that is effective reframing, because when you are able to see situations in a positive light, like what you learned out of it, what benefits that you took out of that situation, then that is observing things with hope. And having hope is what gives you the energy to live a fulfilling life.
Thank you for sharing your life, Maribel. That is just your upbeat, very relatable persona is what a lot of us need. That, yep, there is hope. And no matter what limiting beliefs we may have, we can overcome if we just have the right attitude. And I want to thank you for sharing. And Marty, what are your thoughts?
I want to thank you for sharing also, Maribel. Women that have low confidence and they reach it, they've gone through your course and they've reached it. And then all of a sudden something happens and they're, just like you related your story talking to the German professionals. Thank you for saying that happens. It's okay. You regroup or you reform. And so thank you for the hope for women that want to have confidence, get there, and know sometimes that low confidence comes back in different situations, but you work through it.
Thank you for having me. Yes, this is just my story, and I hope that it's an inspiration for other people to start right now working with their confidence. You can improve it, and it's a process. It's a lifetime process and attitude. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you, Maribel. Our experience is some number of people are being held back due to limiting beliefs. Those limiting beliefs, again, could be a matter of something said to or about you earlier in life. It could be a matter of low self-confidence. It could be something that is keeping you from living at your God-designed potential. When we work together, we stand beside, we walk with those who have greater potential, we can help them overcome those limiting beliefs. Everybody can benefit from a coach. Coaches help people overcome those limiting doubts about themselves, those limiting beliefs. There are many of us who have had things said to and about us that keep us living our full God-designed potential. We frequently manifest those limiting beliefs as, I'm not certain I want to take on some project. I'm not certain I even have the energy to complete the project. I have been told I fail at projects. Any number of things that keep us from living our God-designed potential. As Maribel said, and we know it to be true, as we help others live their full potential, as we identify those strengths, we can help you overcome those limiting beliefs. I hope you'll seek out a coach to help you overcome anything that is keeping you from living at your designed potential. And when you are with a coach, that person can help you overcome those limiting beliefs and help you reach your full potential. Reach out to Maribel, Marty, or me. Each of the three will offer a 30-minute complimentary coaching session. Through that, you can determine if either of the three of us is the right person to help you overcome those limiting beliefs. Contact us at ron@thecooperculture.com or Marty, M-A-R-T-Y, at thecooperculture.com or maribelortega.com and schedule that complimentary session. We want to help you live your full potential and what you were designed to be. We hope we can warrant a 5-star rating through this podcast. We hope you will subscribe to our podcast series, Overcomers Overcoming. We hope you'll choose to engage with us. Let us know what has worked for you, what challenges you have had that you are overcoming, anything that would benefit someone else. We want to advance people. We hope you'll share this podcast with your Facebook friends, your Instagram community, your LinkedIn connections. The more we share and engage with each other, the greater benefit we will be to each other. We have a heart desire to want to advance people. We know what it is to have limiting beliefs and fall short of our designed potential. Marty and I have been through that. Maribel has overcome that, and we know how to deal with that, albeit, as Maribel said, and Marty and I know, we deal with it every day, but we just know how to deal with it now, as opposed to having a defeated attitude. It is a mindset. It is a matter of knowing how to work through those challenges that keep us from performing at our full potential. It is a matter of surrounding ourselves with people who believe in us, who want to have us succeed, and walk along beside us to live our full potential, to work out our strengths, and to work through the spiritual gifts that we have, the talents we have to achieve our full potential. Let's work together. Let's reach out to others. Let's help others live out their full potential and advance each other. We hope we have the opportunity to work with you. Let's advance others. Let's work together. Let's share in each other's successes. We look forward to working with you.